So this should be a good time. So what I kind of want to start with is that the reason why I think VR is really good for people with either little to no vision or low vision is because um, so the audio for the Rift, right? If you think about it, it's it's a set of headphones that are on your ears. And you can probably use any kind of headphones too. I'm just using the audio with the headphones on the Rift because it's a lot easier. But you can use any headphones you want. Now, think about it in a game sense, right? Where let's just say you're playing a non-VR game and you're using your mouse and your keyboard and your mouse is moving around and this and that, right? So when you move your mouse and you're using a normal headset or a good uh, sound quality headset, right? Like you're using, like for example, Audio Technicas or whatever. So if you're using that headset and you move your mouse, well, your hand is moving your mouse, and then the audio will portray on screen, right? It'll just portray on the screen how it's supposed to be. Now, um, think of it in terms of VR. You're in a headset, and when you're in like a spooky map or you're in a game setting to where, like, let's just say you're playing Skyrim VR or something like that, when you move your head, the audio turns with your head, right? So, for example, like if you're crossing a street or you're um, out in the real world somewhere, when you turn your head to the right and you put your right ear towards the sound, you're going to hear more of it in your right ear than your left ear. That's kind of the same thing in VR, where if you turn your head, audio kind of pans over to the right and then, it'll slightly go to the left, so the sound will get a little bit longer. Who left the chat?
That is SVM.
Did he crash?
I think so.
What the hell? So it is just
Well,
VR chat. Holy shit. He's gonna be pissed.
he's offline on Discord.
Yeah, he's gonna be upset. Because it's just VR chat. That's.
He's still online on VR chat though.
Wait, is he?
Is he moving around?
Like, is he moving?
I lost track of him a little while ago, but he's online.
That's weird.
That's so strange. So
He's not online on Steam though.
it's just VR chat that makes him crash.
Well, he's
That's.
still in VR chat though.
But anyway, so chat, yeah. So like, if you think about it, like let's try this. I think the music is on this wall. Yeah. So let's try to play a song. So if I'm looking straight at this music source, right, the sound kind of sounds balanced. Now, I'm not going to move my character, but I'm just going to move my head. Actually, let's probably play a different song. Where's that board at? It's right here. What's that? Yeah, so you can hear the music, and I'm kind of looking at the lights or where the audio source should be, and it sounds balanced. Now, if I just turn my head, it's in my right ear now. If I turn to left, now it's in my left ear. So with audio, especially being so good, this basically is a stereo 360 audio. So you'll hear sounds like even if your character, the sounds now is right behind me and I'm moving away from it now. So it sounds further behind me. So you're able to tell spatially where things are. And think about it this way too, right? Is that we're used to walking around without sight. So when we are walking around, we don't really need to worry about hitting anything. Like, for example, here's my wall. I don't have to worry about hitting that because I'm already in my head and my mental space spatially aware of where I am. So, obviously if obstacles get put in your way, that's one thing, but that's kind of with anything, right? So if you can develop a game where you have your audio, which you're going to do anyway because it's VR and you want full immersion with visuals, then it's completely possible. Or for example, like if you memorize the layout of your main room here in VR chat, like what I have, right? I've memorized this layout. So if I go over here to where this window or balcony is, right in the center of it, there should be 2 pistols and a button. Now, how do you think we'd pick the pistol up? So we're going to reach over, and if I can feel the haptic feedback on the controller, and then I just kind of just pick it up, right? Just pick it up, and we have it. We can shoot. We can put it back down. Same thing with the left hand. Haptic feedback. Listen for it, and then just grab it. Right? And then we can look for the haptic feedback button and smack it. Right? And you can just play and shoot and do whatever you want. And then you could just put it back down.
Hi Harry Ludenier, tell me if you like this song please.
This song? It's okay. The song was okay. I just put the song on because it was just a demonstration of what I was
Dafrisco
talking
he
about.
tried to post a link.
Oh, he tried to post a link? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what song.
Dafrisco there was 3 asterisk S.
Yeah, because people can't post links in the chat, so.
Dafrisco I can winking.
Yeah, you can link it, Frisk, if you want to. But yeah, so basically, if you take everything spatially for blind people, or for people with low vision, or even people that are legally blind, I guess, like I think VR is a really good experience for anybody. It's just like what I just explained with the sound source, right? The sound source is in front of you. You're going to know where you are spatially. And if you turn, to the left and to the right, you're going to know where you are spatially. And it's just about maneuvering, right? Because, I mean, obviously...
Hi Dafrisco. Yes, sorry Harry, he's gotta be safe with the auto chat moderation because he can't moderate it himself during the stream.
Right. So, and then also, if there's obstacles, like in the middle of this room right here, there should be a table and 3 chairs, I believe. So with the Oculus, at least I don't know, because I have the Oculus, but maybe it's like this with the Vive as well. If I run into the table, if I just run into it,
Hi Harry Ludenier, just add HT to the start of this.
There's haptic feedback when I run into it because there's objects on that table, right? And
Dafrisco HT.
There's also haptic feedback on everything of the chair. So
Dafrisco I cannot see the link Harry.
Combined with everything else, with audio, there's also haptics in the controller. So you're not only using audio, but you're using touch as well. So if I'm like somewhere where I can't pick up anything, there's no haptics. So if I'm feeling around, like, a blind person would, I'm just feeling around, nothing's going to happen. But if I slowly maneuver, boom, there's the gun right here because the haptic feedback happened right here. And there's the gun. And right there. Boom. So it's I don't know. To me, I found it amazing that playing VR.
Dafrisco is haptic feedback the vibration you feel?
Yep, the haptic feedback is the vibration you feel in the Oculus remotes. So that's Amiko. That was probably loud. I'm sorry. So if there is any kind of if there's nothing in front of me, the
Harry
haptic
Ludenier add HT to the start of dash. Harry Ludenier add.
This person really wants me to listen to this song. Be kind of cool. I don't know what song it is. But yeah, the haptic feedbacks are in the controllers itself. So that's kind of what it goes to. And I just sat down in the chair and I can just move and get up. And over here
HT
is the couch.
Dafrisco.
I can move. So yeah, honestly, I really feel.
Just HT.
I really feel.
Dafrisco HT.
I don't know what happened, Mike. You crash?
Dafrisco doing me a confuse.
The computer did?
Yep.
Harry Ludenier HT.
So it's just VR chat, huh?
Dafrisco HT.
As far as what I have to go off of right now, yes, because I played Soul Calibur 6, I played Killing Floor 2 today, and I played Dead by Daylight for an extended period.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all at separate times, mind you, so it shouldn't have overheated. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't get it. So I'm looking at my Windows logs.
Gotcha. But yeah, so that's kind
Harry
of what I'm.
Ludenier, just type it in the link I sent.
I don't think there was a link, Harry, man. There was no link. There's no links in chat. If you're not a mod, there's not going to be a link in that chat.
Dafrisco, we cannot see the link.
Yeah, it's going to come up as 3 asterisks, because I can't moderate my own chat.
Dafrisco, it is simply a for me.
Yeah. So it's going to come up as 3 asterisks, I believe, because I have to I have to self mod when people aren't around. But if you want to DM DeFrisco the link, he can check it out, and then he'll post it if he thinks
Harry
it's worthy.
Ludenier.
Yeah. So if you want to DM DeFrisco the link, he can check the song out, and then he'll link it in my chat if it's worth checking out. But yeah, so I think, like I said,
Hi
VR is kind
Dafrisco.
of fun.
Click on my name and whisper it to me.
I think I might just chill in VR for a little bit. Well, because that was a lot to set up for a stream. So I guess I'll just kind of hang out right here and see what chat has to say. We'll just sit down and talk to the chat. What's going on, guys? Oh, man. But yeah. I don't know. Is there any questions that you guys have for the VR itself in general? So, like, for example, in VR chat, right? So if you pull up a menu, wrong one. If I pull up the menu in VR, you can hold the menu. Now,
Dafrisco, it's Linkin Park's in the end. Not sure if you've heard of it. B.
oh yeah, Linkin Park's in the end. It's okay song. I mean, it's not bad. But like I was saying, the
Hi
menu.
Harry Ludenier. I just ate 4 slices of pizza thick crust from Pizza Hut and it's good. Do you like pizza?
Hello?
Yes, I like pizza. I understand that I said questions are welcome. You're taking it quite literal. But yes, so like the menu, for example, I'm kind of holding the menu in my left hand. Now, I can easily
Combat
find
Chronicles, what are the benefits of VR to someone with is blind?
the benefits. I feel like I was saying earlier, is that if we're in a game, right? If we're in uh a game that requires sound or that requires sight, right, or visuals, because if you think of VR like this. When the creators of any type of VR game make something that's tailored to that, they're going to obviously add the 360 audio. What do blind people care about? We care about 360 and stereoscopic audio. So like I was showing before, if I go to this wall here and I kind of scroll over here to the second haptic feedback here. So if we scroll here, we're listening to this song, right? This, if I'm looking at the audio source, which I know is right above me, then it's going to sound center in both headset or in both ears, just like in actual life, right? In normal walking around everyday life, if somebody's talking to you face to face, it's going to sound like it's coming into both your ears. Now, if I'm not moving my character and I turn my head to the left, right, it's going to go to my right ear because that's where the sound is initially coming from. Now, if I do the same, if I turn my head to the right, it's going to go to my left ear because that's where the sound is initially coming from. So,
Dafrisco posted a link.
So, the audio itself is really important. I feel like that's going to be the main benefit, because if we think about games in general, when we're wearing a headset and we're using a mouse and keyboard or a controller, when we flick the sticks on a controller, or if we use our hand to move the mouse, we are actively moving, and our character in game turns, right? So when our character in game turns, it's going to be as if we are turning. But in VR, we don't even have to do that. What's naturally what is a natural thing that happens with us, right? We turn our head. If we want to hear something that's, if we're like listening to somebody, or if we're listening to somebody speak, or we're trying to hear a noise, we turn our ear toward it. You know, we kind of just say, "What did you say?" And we turn our ear to that. So I feel like that's going to really help in a sense of being in VR, having a headset on, you're able to hear all these audio cues. Like if you're playing Killing Floor 2 or Doom VFR or Fallout 4 VR, you're going to hear all these audio cues happening really well, because the developers actually try to tailor the audio to be 360. Right? So if you're in a VR headset, they want it to be fully immersed, not only visually but auditorily, and even with haptic feedback, which I was explaining earlier. The Oculus touch controllers have haptics. So if I'm, moving my hand across a table or whatnot, and no objects are there, nothing's gonna happen. There's no vibration in the controller. But if there is an object there that I can pick up or I can
Dafrisco, I've
interact
got
with,
to go in 20 minutes. Let Mikey know, cause I don't want to interrupt your speaking.
okay. Mike said, Mike Frisk has to go in 20 minutes, so he wanted me to let you know.
I don't know if I can.
I forgot to turn my
I'm
monitor.
concerned
Why?
because I don't know what I can't do at this point.
It seems like VR chat is the main thing.
Yeah, but it happened when I was just sitting in Oculus before, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
So I'm looking at the event viewer and I'm trying to find it.
trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So just to put an example of what I was saying, so we're gonna go in this corner of the balcony again, and if you guys can see my hand, I know there's nothing here, right? There's nothing in this particular corner. But if we move a little bit to the left or the right, sorry, as soon as I feel that haptic, I know the gun is there, right? So the gun is right here. I could just pick it up, right? And it's kind of the same thing. So if I'm feeling around in this is all natural because this is what I do in normal life, right? I'm feeling around for something. If I drop like a pen or I dropped a piece of paper or something, I'm feeling around on the floor, trying to figure out where it is, and then haptic happens, boom, there it is. I could just pick it up. So I feel like the combination of audio and then just normal gestures that we make on a daily basis, I feel like that would really help for blind people. Like for example, if something falls on the floor, you can easily just bend down and look for it, and then as soon as you feel the haptic, boom, pick it up. So like for example, if I have this gun in my hand and I drop it, so now I dropped it on the floor. Let's just say I dropped it, don't know where it is. So now I'm just kind of, instead of doing this, looking around, I can just find it. Boom, there's a haptic, and I could just pick it up. So I feel like these gestures, these things are natural. Bending up, picking something up, or reaching out to look for something. Or for example, like I was doing with the music, right? So I'm reaching out to the wall and I'm trying to follow the wall. So the first haptic I feel, boom, these are the haptics. These are all videos, right? These are all videos in VR chat. So if I go a little bit more to the right, or to the right, to the right, to the right, boom, hear the music. And
Combat
I can just,
Chronicles, that's amazing.
right, and I could just tell right here, right? So up here is the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that's end. So these are all just things that we do on a normal daily basis. One, you see a blind person, if they're walking next to a wall like this, they're trailing the wall, right? We trail the wall, and if we find something, right, we're going to move. Or if we find something that we're looking for, like a door handle or a doorknob, we're going to grab it and open it, right? So if, like, let's say I'm trailing this wall, there's a haptic here, boom, boom, boom. And then if I hit the wall, boom, in real life, mind you, I'm going to touch the wall, and then I'm going to turn. Then I'll follow, boom. I'm going to hit the wall, I'm going to turn, follow. And that's just kind of what we do normally, right, in real life. So if you take these concepts which shouldn't be too difficult, and you apply them to VR, like I do, with trying to search for something on the the desk or the table or whatever, and you have people who have vision with you, then I think it's a very viable thing, just like learning a video game. You learn and you understand. So like I said, I've had this little space here is the starting portion of VR. I have it memorized. So if we start from this corner of the room, right there in the center of the room over there is um right here is there's 3 chairs. Boom, 2, 3, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, and then the table is in the middle. The reason why they know the table's here is because there's a bunch of markers or pens in the middle, and I can just feel all the haptics happening right here. So like right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a fourth one? Hold on a second. Let me move over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so there's 4 here, and then on the other side there should be 2. Yeah, 1, 2. So both my hands can grab the haptics, right? So there's 6 pens on there, and then from the table, if we're facing the exit way, which I can see the blue over there in front of me, I can see the blue. So if I facing the blue and I go right, and I feel around, there's the couch, and I can just sit down, and you just use, your other senses. You use, if you have little to no vision like I do, I use colors. I use the colors to kind of discern my surroundings. So if I'm facing blue, okay, well, I'm in my own room, right? I'm in the starting room of VR chat. All right, well, if I'm facing blue, that means the table is either in front of me, or if I'm not feeling any if I'm not feeling any haptics around me, that means the table's behind me. So if I turn around and put the blue behind me and I walk until I feel haptics, right? Okay, now I know the pens are in front of me. Now I know the table's in front of me. And then there's the blue right there. And over here, if I look left, there's the TV with the videos and the songs. Look right, there's the couches. And then if I look behind me, back there, that's where the balcony and the guns and the button are. And you kind of just understand. And then over here on the right-hand side as well, there's also a mirror. Obviously I'm not going to get much use out of it, but the mirror is there, right? So having the mirror itself, if you guys can see it, boom. So I don't know. I just found it really fascinating, as well as menus, right? So if I activate a menu, now it's in my hand. This menu is anywhere I want it to be. It could be close to my face, it could be away from me, but now I know, right? So let's just say I deactivate it and I activate it right here. Now I know this menu is down here because I'm holding it. I'm holding this menu. So let's just say I want to activate in this menu. So I'm going to hold it to a point where I know, and then I'll meet my hand on my arm. So this is what I like about
Combat Chronicles. It's incredible how you can navigate a VR environment.
Right. See? So, and this is amazing how I can show you too. So I'm going to meet my arm, right? This is what I do. I put the controller right on my forearm, and then I move up, or I move to the right. And then that's one, and you can still feel the haptic. And now I can move up. I can move the menu up one, up one. Now I'm on the top left, right? So this, if I remember correctly, this is Worlds, and then this one's Avatar. I can't remember the other menus at the moment. I just know this one's World, this one's Avatar, and then I go right one more, and right 2 more rather, and then down 1, and that's Settings, right? And then we go all the way to the left where I meet my arm again. So that's how I know I'm at the end. I'm at the end of the menu because I'm touching my arm. So now I'm off the menu. If I go a little bit to the right and I go down and I come back to meet my arm again, this is the mute. This is the mute unmute for the microphone. So this is how I change, worlds. And then if I meet my arm again and I come up and I go all the way up, right? So I can kind of see the blue light that shoots out, but not really. I'm not going to rely on it. But it wouldn't be shooting out if there was an invite here on the top left corner. And if there is an invite there, I click it and then I move down again. I find my center point, my arm, my forearm, and then if I move left, this area here, this little area, should be the accept invite button. So you kind of just use these tricks to help yourself, you know, putting your arm up to your forearm with the menu open, right? Or doing stuff like that. You know, you kind of just use these cognitive thinking or you know, logical thinking in your head, right? So for example, if I'm gonna make a guess spatially, right, with menus, if I have the menu and I have my forearm here, well, I'm gonna make a guess, right? So if the menu is square, which I've been told that it is, well, the square is only as big.
Combat Chronicles, I may have missed it, but how do you know what the menu options say?
The way that I know what the menu options say here is I've been told what they say. So, for example, Mike in the chat has VR, and he's told me once or twice that the top left-hand corner is worlds. Right next to the right of worlds is avatars. And I can't remember everything, right? I don't know what's all that's on that menu, but I do know that the top left is worlds. The second box right next to worlds to the right is avatars. And then if you go right 2, down 1, that's settings.
Well, if you're streaming VR chat, I can always tell you which ones say what.
Right, and then also, yeah, exactly. So if some people are in my chat, like Frisk, or in the Discord, if I'm streaming VR chat and I'm like, hey, Frisk, what's on the menu? And I flick it up, right? So if I'm holding the menu,
I'd say a nice steak with baked potatoes.
hell yeah, right? There you go. So I'm like, hey, Frisk, so what's going on with this menu here? And I flick it up and I'm putting my forearm to it, like I normally do, and I'm like, hey, Frisk, what am I hovering over? And he'll be able to tell me, or hey, Mike, what am I hovering over? And that's this is
Social.
yeah, social. So now I know, hey, 3 right. So from worlds, it goes worlds, avatar, social. Now I just kind of log that away in my brain. Now it goes worlds, avatar, social, worlds, avatar, social. And I just kind of have to remember and remember and remember. And I keep, you know, as the more I play the game, VR chat, the more I'll start to remember. And then honestly, with VR as well, you start to get muscle memory. Like with a fighting game, right? When you're doing combos and things, you start to get muscle memory. So for me, I know, right, when I put a menu, I know what this feels like. So if my hands are in this position, my arm's slightly bent, and my right hand is above me, this area here is about where the worlds button is. This area here is about where the avatar button is. And then obviously 1, 2 over, and 1, this area where my hands are, this is where the setting is. Why? Because muscle memory. You'll start to understand where your hands are in relation to each other over the course of time that you're playing, right? You know, you play for 3 hours, 4 hours, and you're constantly getting in and out of the menus, and you're kind of constantly navigating to new worlds or new portals or whatever. Then you'll start to really understand, hey, just like, for example, when you reach up and touch your nose, or when you reach out for something that you know is there. Like, for example, if you guys know your desk layout, you can just reach over and grab something without looking at it. Why? Because you know it's there. You know where it is in your head spatially. That's kind of what it is. The same thing in VR chat or any VR type menu. And I kind of went over this again with PC as well. In Dead by Daylight, when I'm playing that, my mouse is at the top right hand corner of my screen, because now the top left hand corner. So the top left hand corner is my starting point. It's my point of origin. From the top left, now I know where everything is on that menu. And audio cues obviously help with that too. So all I have to do is go down a little bit, and I count 1, 2 down. That's where the perk menu is. It opens. You go right, and you go right 4. That's where offerings, and then the add-ons, and then the item itself. And from the item itself, you go down. Those 4 boxes are your perks. So you just memorize. Excuse me, voice is getting a little dry. But you just memorize where things are the more you play a game. And I think with VR, it just makes that a little bit easier for blind people. So when a blind person or a person with little to no sight saying, "Oh, I don't feel that VR is worth it for me. I don't feel that VR is suitable for me." Well, yeah, it may not be for visuals, but it's such an amazing experience for audio, for the
Frisco, honestly, what a good speaker. Round of applause.
the the physical part of it, right? Your muscle memory, you're engaging you're engaging your other senses, because you're not going to engage your sense of touch when you're playing a game on PC or console, because you're holding onto a controller or mouse and keyboard. Unless that controller and mouse and keyboard has haptics, you're not engaging your sense of touch. This is kind of tricking your brain and engaging that sense of touch, right? So like even just navigating I keep putting on the controller down because my hands keep getting freaking sweaty. But even just interacting with this table, I'm doing a natural thing and bending down and grabbing, the pen, right? And to me, this tricks my brain in a sense of touch, right? I'm holding on to this pen now. Do I know what color this is? No. Do I know what I'm gonna do with it? No. But I'm just holding on to it, and I can switch hands. I can kind of put it back
Dafrisco
down.
PARTY10 I gotta go get some sleep for the hella stupid system of education we call the school system.
Hey.
CYA later, hombre.
Goodbye. Have a good time. Have a beautiful time. Yeah. Goodbye, Frisk. But yeah, I think just
Yeet my ass.
in a VR sense, I really do think, and I believe, for me, and I'm only one blind person, that VR has been one of the better experiences in gaming that I had since. And I was the one skeptical too, right? When I first heard of Oculus and Vive and Windows Mixed Reality, I was like, well, there's something that we can't use because it's fucking visual, right? We just put it over our eyes, and now it's all immersed, and you're having to look at everything and be part of everything, right? Like, but I mean, sometimes that's not the case, right? Like, there are definitely things in VR that are just audio based. Like, there's audio based stories, there's games. I don't know, Mike was going over some games with me that were like somebody talking about themselves being blind, like these visual walk around stories. Like, there's a bunch of things that you can do that don't require too much vision. And I mean, even like stuff like this, like VR chat. Like, yeah, there's things that require vision, like shooting the gun or shooting whatever. But even then, just rely on your other senses. Rely on your audio. Rely on your ears. Rely on, just kind of listening, looking around, and kind of just trying to hear where things are coming from. And then, I mean, VR is just a chat space, right? Or VR chat is just go out, have fun, go chat with people, hang out. It's just kind of one of those things that I feel like, it makes a big difference. And being able to do this, and I can't see my hands, but I can see movement. It makes it weird for me. Like, being able to do this and I see movement in front of me, it makes it really weird. I'm pretty sure people who do this and they could see a hand, you know, making a fist or doing whatever they're doing, it probably really messes with their head. But to me, just seeing the movement, like, I don't have the controllers in my hand anymore. There's no movement in front of me now. Obviously, I know I'm moving my hands because I'm moving my hands, but there's no movement in front of my eyes. But if I have the controllers in my hand, now there's some semblance of movement. I see blurbs like shadows moving in front of me. Now I'm moving my hands, and now there's shadow blurbs moving in front of me. So I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And sometimes it does trick me to say, wow, I'm actually, fuck, moving my hands in game as well as in real life. So, reaching out and hitting something, or reaching out and grabbing something in midair, or catching something, I feel like it becomes a lot easier because now we're not worried about buttons, right? We're not worried about buttons. We're not worried about clicking and tapping a button. We're just doing what seems natural, putting our hands up and closing them, right? You're just closing them, making a fist, just boom, and easy. It just seems so natural as far as VR is concerned. But yeah. So, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna get out of this headset, and I'm gonna go back to my desktop mode, plug in my VR, or plug in my headset and everything else on my second monitor, and then we can continue the discussion. If you guys have any questions about blindness or about gaming or whatever, then please hesitate to ask real quick because I'm going to take off the headset and I won't be able to hear anything. So I'm going to switch the audio over to my main setup on my computer, and then once I do that, I'll let you guys know when I'm back. So what I'll do is now I'll just go to my computer here, and I'm gonna hit.
Caspered very nice demo.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna hit this button. So you guys should see the stream starting soon. So once you'll know once the stream starting soon goes away. Like if it changes, then you know that I'm back. So I will be right back. So stay tuned. Okay.
All right, I'm off to Grand Adventures. Have a good night, guys.
Oh, good night, Tim.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, guys, you should be able to hear me now in the other microphone, and that's Amico. So I should be able to change this screen back now. There we are. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, perfect. So I'm in Discord. I should be being heard by everything else. So yeah, what did you guys have any questions? What did you guys think about the demonstration?
Caspered, I hear you just jine.
Just jine? Gotcha.
Caspered fine.
Miko. Oh boy. Probably has to go outside. Alright, give me 1 second, chat. I'm gonna make sure everything's kind of fixed up here, and then I'm gonna go take my dog out, and then we will be back with more talk. Alrighty, I will be right back, chat.
Combat Chronicles, I'm always impressed and learn a lot when you do these podcasts.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be right back. You have to go outside. Go. All right, I'm back. Check. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to put this together to just reiterate that, there's so many things out there that a blind person can do that may not seem natural, right? I just like VR. Even I was kind of a victim to it too, because I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do VR at all because it's so visual. You have to be immersed into things, and Mike over here was just like, no, man, you can just try it. Just try VR, put on the headset, and do whatever seems natural. And it worked, and it was really fun for me to kind of do things. And the reason why I think VR chat works so well, especially as a social platform for blind people. I mean, there's probably other things out there, but I only know VR chat, is because when blind people talk, right? At least when I do, I'm very expressive. Like, I talk with my hands. Apparently, I have facial expressions and this and that. I feel like VR allows me to do so. It allows me to move my hands, talk with my hands, be very expressive, do what I want to do, which I couldn't do on a normal PC. So there's another aspect of it where you can become immersed without necessarily having to see what the hell's going on the screen. You can be immersed by talking and body and movement and doing whatever. You see, like I said, you're getting your other senses in the mix rather than just your sight and your hearing. You're getting the physical part of it too. You're getting moving your hands, moving your head, moving your body, and it's whatever comes natural to you. So, I don't know. I guess the biggest thing that I can also say too is learning games. Logically speaking, right? Whenever I play something that's new to me, or whenever I play something or if I'm learning something for the first time, I tend to listen to audio. I listen to how the game sounds. Is there anything that differs from making a selection to confirming a selection, like moving the cursor to actually confirming? Is there a different sound to that? Is there a different does the announcer say the name of the character for if it's a fighting game, for example, or even not? Does the menu have auto wrapping, where if you hold down the button, the freaking cursor keeps wrapping around, right? If it goes like from the top all the way to the bottom and then it auto goes back up to the top, that's called wrapping. So if you hold the cursor down or the button down, does it automatically do that, or does it have a stopping point? So if you hold the cursor down, it'll go all the way bottom and stop. And for you to make the menu or the cursor wrap, you press the button again, then it'll go back up to the top. I think those are very important to look forward to for blind people, because you can always find the top of the menu and the bottom of the menu, right? If there's no auto wrapping, because you could just hold down, like if you need a reset, like if you're counting menus. So for example, if you have like arcade versus training, gallery, exit, right? If you're counting and you forget or you lose your place or somebody talks to you in the middle of your counting, you're like, oh crap, was I on gallery or was I on exit? All right, well, let me just hold down. Now you hold down, you're at the bottom, you're reset, press it again, you're back up at the top, you're reset, you can just count again. So I think those are definitely different things that I kind of implement over the course of years, just learning different games and learning how to do different things. And then the biggest point that I've wanted to make today, I think what struck me as interesting when I was having a talk with SVM was we were watching Ruby, and I asked, does Crow, which is obviously spoilers if you guys haven't seen Ruby, but Crow is her uncle, and I asked him, hey, does he have a cape? And he's like, yeah. How did you know he had a cape? And I was like, well, to be honest, I just assumed because Ruby has a cape and she learned from Crow, so that means he must have a cape, right? So these logical kind of constructs, these analytical things that I think about, I also use them when I play games, right? So is there a pattern to somebody? Like, for example, I use this a lot subconsciously in Smite. So I would kind of sit there and think and listen to the opponent that I was facing in the solo lane, I was like, okay, what does this person like to do when they come in lane? Do they like to go to the minions? Do they like to go to the left of the minions or to the right? How do they like to walk? Do they like to walk straight towards me or do they like to strafe? And when I kind of get that basic knowledge in my head, I'm like, all right, well, they like to strafe. Well, now I'm going to lead my shot. All right, well, they walk in front of me. Okay, well, I don't have to really lead my shot so much. I'm just going to shoot a skill shot in front of me. Or I'm going to strafe and I still have to lead my shot to see if they're going to fall into it. You know, just kind of thinking on analytical guesses, right? These are just hypotheses, very quick, very, very fast guesses, and I have to put them to the test every single time I'm playing a game, right? Because if I lead a shot and they're not there, well, I miss the shot, right? It's just like anything visually. You're leading a shot, the person doesn't go that way. Okay, well, then you miss a shot. Let's line it up and do it again. And, you know, getting over the course of 25 years, or 24, I guess I can't say that, over the course of 20 years, let's put it that way, 20 years, you know, you learn a few things. You learn how to perfect your craft on how to do, you know, to think that way and to put things into perspective. So not only just audio, but just the way that I think. And I can only speak for myself, well, because I'm me. I can't speak for anybody else. But that's just the way that I learn how to play games. It's the way how I learn how to do things. So when somebody randomly comes into this chat and they're like, hey, man, how are you able to do that? Or how are you able to hit that skill check in Dead by Daylight? Well, I can just say, you know, oh, it's just a matter of guesswork, which sounds kind of weird, right? Oh, he's just guessing. Well, how is he guessing? Well, here's how I guess, right? There's an audio cue for Dead by Daylight, and the audio cue yeah, I gotcha. So right before the audio cue in Dead by Daylight happens, the skill check is about to happen. Now, what happens with the skill check is it's just a circle, and there's a line that starts from, I'd say, probably about noon on a clock. So it starts at noon and then it'll start going clockwise around the circle all the way back to noon. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, you know, all the way back to noon. Now the skill check, there is a little white line to designate the great skill check. And then there's another line behind that that's the skill check area. And it's bigger or smaller depending on perks, add-ons, what killers are running, you know, stuff like that. So, if you think about it, if you break the circle into 4 parts, right? So there's the first part that's probably the top right, then the bottom right, the bottom left, and the top left, the 4 quadrants of a circle. The skill check can go anywhere in between each quadrant, right? They're not going to, usually the skill check, there's very rare times where it's in one portion of that quadrant of the circle. It's usually kind of in between, right? It's usually maybe around 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and sometimes it'll be about 4, 5, and 6 o'clock, right? So it'll be on the bottom half of that circle usually. There are very rare times where it has been up on the 10, 11 mark, and then sometimes really rare where it's right on the starting guide, right next to the 1, 2, and 3. So, thinking that, the main thing I have is, all right, I'm going to wait till the line is kind of in that bottom portion of the circle, and then I'm going to hit spacebar. Because that's kind of where the skill checks go, right? And it takes about 1.5 seconds. So, you know, you count 1 and then you wait maybe a half second more and then you hit the button for it to get to about, you know, 5, 6 o'clock. Or I'm sorry, 6, 7 o'clock. So if you want to be quicker, it's like a half second. If you want to be right off the gate, it's probably about 0.25 of a second, like a quarter of a second. So you kind of have to think of these times in your head, and I go off of feeling, right? Do I feel like I'm going to hit a skill check? Now. And I hit the space bar. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. that's just the name of the game, right? It's a guess. If it works, great, you continue. If it doesn't, well, you're going to probably get caught by the killer. And that's just kind of how it rolls. That's how you roll in the game. And I think that's kind of how blind gamers enjoy games. You just kind of roll with the punches, man. Whatever happens, happens. And if you're gonna make an attempt at an option or do something, if it works, great. You look like a badass. If it doesn't, well, shit, you're blind. Who cares, right? So you kind of have to not be afraid of failure in that aspect. But that's just only one little thing that I do in Dead by Daylight to kind of make things a little bit easier for me, right? That's just so that whole thought process with the 4 quadrants of a circle and the line being on a clock, right? That all happens within 1 to 2 seconds. As soon as I hear that audio cue, I'm like, fuck, skill check's coming. So now I have to make a guess. And sometimes it's pressure, man. You're the killer, you hear a heartbeat, you hear something coming at you, or you hear footsteps, and you have to press the button real fast. I don't care who you are. Yeah, you're going to commit. You're going to have to do something. So, and sometimes you're just going to miss. I mean, anybody does. Anybody would. Sighted or blind. You're going to get spooked. You hear Michael's breathing.
Wow.
You're going to get, you hear Michael's breathing. That skill check's going away real quick. So yeah, I'm tired of hearing myself talk. Do you guys have any questions? You have anything to add, Mike? As a friend? As a brother?
Combat Chronicles are battle royale games like Fortnite and PUBG hard to learn to
Here's the
play?
question. I mean, I don't honestly no, because I feel like they're gonna hear it from anyone. It's probably better to just hear it come from you. Because I mean,
Yeah, but
obviously
I
have a
like,
ton of experience.
I don't know. I like to have people hear from an outsider perspective as well. Just because you're with me like 9 times out of 10 part of
He
the day.
still keeps saying he sucks at fighting games, and I'm gonna beat him up every time.
Shit. Battle Royale games. See, I have a love-hate relationship with Battle Royale games, right? Because I feel like they could be good for blind people to play because you're kind of everybody starting at kind of an even footing. You're kind of randomly starting things out. Problem is, and the problem I have with any kind of shooting game in general, is if you're seen first, you're dead, right? You don't get the chance to fight back, essentially, right? You don't get the chance to kind of get hit and then fight back. And even if you do get hit, you're probably going to keep getting hit until you're dead. And I think that's the problem with battle royale games or any kind of shooter.
Hi,
Now there
Casper.
is
For this blind dude, I would say you will have a large disadvantage.
exactly. Now there is a blind person who plays Call of Duty, and I think it's Modern Warfare 3 or I don't know, it's one of the Call of Duties that he kills people. I mean, he's at the top of the leaderboards, and he's, I read the article about him, and he just said he relies on audio cues and map memorization, which, yeah, that's possible.
You can definitely do that in Call of Duty. Like the sound is really important in Call of Duty. Not
Right.
to mention the map layouts being really similar, and like usually Call of Duty is like a really arcadey type game, anyways. So
Yeah.
really, it probably plays to the advantages of a blind person in that way.
Right. So something like Call of Duty as an arcade shooter, sure, I could see myself playing that.
Battle
Do
Royale
I want
has too
to?
many random factors.
Yeah.
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 Unless you're
I think-
running with multiple
Casper,
people
yeah,
that
it's
can
a very
help out, like,
fast-paced
by
shooter.
yourself.
Yeah. See, this is why I have you here. Yeah, battle royales. I'd say if you're a blind person, if you want to go for it, man, more power to you. But especially Fortnite, dude, where you can build shit in the middle of the arena. Oh man. Oh, dude, I don't know how a blind person could even hope to play the Fortnite, because you're able to build obstacles in the middle of your battlefield.
Yo, build a
Like,
box, blind man. You build a
Yeah.
defense. You're like, no, just shoot me.
Yeah,
just get
just-
it.
I mean, well, even then, right? Because like when I'm in Dead by Daylight, I complain about obstacles being in the middle of the map, and sometimes I use the obstacles to kind of get around, right? Now, if I'm like, all right, I memorize this map, and this is a big map, mind you, and I'm like, all right, I memorize this like grassy hilled map. All right, there's a hill here, there's a building here, there's a tree, a fountain here, whatever. And then somebody's like, "Yo, man, we're gonna contest this area," and all of a sudden, a freaking skyscraper gets erected in front of me that I don't know what the hell's going on. Hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking die, because it's just there's an obstacle there that wasn't there before, and it's gonna be
This is when
something
we
new.
play Protect the Blind Man, and then we put you in a
Combat
box
Chronicles
and say, "Stay
Battle
there."
Royale
You just
games
chill
are
out
pain
for a
in the
second,
ass
and
for
we
me
go
to
build
play
shit.
and I'm sighted. I usually have no idea WTF is going on.
Exactly. So, finding battle
Sergei
royale
Blindy
games.
3 Miko.
Hey, there's a Miko in chat. Thank you, Serge. Um, yeah, I don't. As a blind person, battle royale games. I don't know, man. It's like playing League of Legends as a blind person. It's doable, maybe, but I think that is a little bit too much effort to play. The only reason Smite I stuck with Smite for so long is because it's a third person, so the audio is kind of down. You can have a better audioscape, and then I can see the colors of the items very well. League's item system, I don't know if they changed it since the last time I've kind of actually looked really close at the menu. Their icon boxes are really small, and it's
can make
really
them
hard to
large.
it's hard to discern the color. But even on top of that, League is a top-down game, so audio isn't that great. You're not going to tell when a shotgun's coming around the corner and ready to stab you in the butt. You know what I'm saying?
Look, it
It's not
doesn't
gonna
matter
happen.
if you're sighted. You're not gonna know that's happening anyway.
I'm just saying. Yeah. But yeah, just putting logic into everything. I think it works well, and also going by feeling, right? So if I'm put into a situation like in Dead by Daylight, right? If I hear the killer, for example, the Huntress is probably the easiest killer for me to track because she has her humming, and her humming is the soundbite is literally attached to her character model. So wherever the humming is, she's at, right? So she's easier for me to follow. So if I'm put in a situation where I hear her humming, I got to make a decision. I either got to stay where I'm at, or I got to find an obstacle. Like I got to, hold W or hold whatever direction till I see the screen stop moving. So when the screen stops moving, I know that I hit an obstacle. I hit a wall, right? And then I'll follow that wall around away from the Huntress, and then I'll crouch. That's my decision. Will she see me or will she not? Time to play a game, right? That's it. That's what we're
Oh
doing.
yeah.
Is she gonna see me? That's it. Yeah, that's what happens in my head. Did she see me? Did she not? Let's play a game. That's what it is, because
And
I
then
don't
you
know
hear
where
the
she's
hatchet
coming
get
from.
ready, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no."
and then I'm like, all right, time to run. I guessed wrong, right? And then we run. But these small little guesses that we play, or I play in my head, I kind of have to translate in game quickly, right? It's thinking on your feet, quick decision making. I guess is the best way to put it, and also going by emotion. I'm already scared because I don't want to die, and then there's a Huntress humming at me, and I'm just like, well, fuck. All right, she's going to my right. I'm gonna go to the left, and I'm gonna crouch behind whatever the fuck this is.
It's
Xavier,
a big
that's.
Russian woman.
I was like, Xavier, that's a shrub. She can still see your head poking out. Shh, she won't notice anything. Yeah, right. So
Hey,
like,
sometimes they don't, man. Claudette, you know.
I'm just saying, cause I don't know what object I'm hiding behind. It could be a building. It could be a
I
rock.
know, and that's the best part.
Right? Like I don't
It's
know what I'm.
like that freaking what is that classic thing? I think it was Monty Python, where it's like seen but I cannot be seen, or something like that. I can't remember. The gist of it.
Yeah. It's like, for example, there's a clip out there. I guess I can try to find it and link it in this chat, or maybe Mike, maybe you can. I'm actually following Michael, and I'm like, hey, Michael's near us, and I'm following him.
That was funny.
I'm following the killer, and I'm like, hey, I don't know where Michael's
Well,
near. It's a
you knew
Michael.
where you were, so it was okay, but it was
But
pretty
still.
funny because I saw you in the distance, just like chasing him down. I was like, "You trying to beat that man up? What are you doing? Get away from him!"
No, it's like, I'm here to any sighted person. That looks stupid. You're like, what the hell?
When he's
There's a
running
Michael.
away in terror, he's screaming, chat, and then he's following Michael. I'm just like, I'm confused.
Exactly.
What are you
It's a confusion thing, right? Because I don't know where the killer is.
I
So-
understand the situation that's playing out, but in my mind, I can't help but laugh because he's wanting to get away from him, but he's just like, "Hello, give me a hug."
Yeah, but I'm following him. You know, so. But yeah. I'm trying not to bore you, chat. Is there anything else you guys wanna ask? Are you gonna wanna play Dead by Daylight, Mike? I know you're kind of a little bit upset about your computer, but
I mean, we can. It's just, I mean, I guess I'm at risk now. I don't know.
well, if
So-
it does peter out on you, you know, at least we know what's going on. So
Well, it's saying my temperature for my CPU is really low. It's at 22 degrees Celsius.
That's good.
so-
that's good. Yeah. I'm gonna set up this game chat, Dead by Daylight, and then you guys can still ask me questions. I'm still gonna continue the podcast. I just want to put something on screen, so you guys aren't like looking at the freaking be right back screen.
Yeah, go play that Wraith game.
I guess I could do that. I could try to do that first. So I'll put something else on the screen for you guys. But feel free to ask me questions in chat. Pretty okay with it. You could be like that one guy that joined the chat earlier. He started asking me about Pizza Hut pizza, and you know, because I put questions are
Okay.
welcome. No, I don't know who it was. It was some random person. He's like, "Do you like the song?" And it was "In the End" by Linkin Park. And then he started asking me about Pizza Hut, because you know, he took the questions welcome, pretty literally, which is fine.
Hey man, you know that's legit information. Do you want to know what the blind man likes on his pizza? Like, come on. Man.
That's true. I guess that makes sense. Fair point.
Hey man, what kind of pizza do you like to eat while you're trying to play games? You know, legit.
Cheese pizza.
Legit question. There you go. Look, I still
Cheese
have yet
pizza.
to have deep dish pizza in the last 2 years, and it's really irritating me.
You're in Ohio. Go get
I
some.
know. No, it's not here.
It can be.
It was actually probably like more there in Arizona. It's frustrating.
I don't think so. Deep dish pizza is a fine commodity over here.
Well, you can go to that one place. What's it? Oregano's? I think that's like the only place I know of that does it.
That does moderately good deep dish. Even
Yeah.
then, it's passable.
Hey, I'll deal with passable. Passable, that is passable.
Shit.
Passable is better than none.
All right, chat. Let's see if we can get this Wraith game in, huh? Like, tried this last night.
Ruth. You're probably still gonna have to wait a little bit for queue times, but just keep that in mind. That way you can chat and ask you questions.
True. Man, I'll tell you though, when I was like setting up VR for the stream, my fans were kicking into high gear real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like my computer was getting pretty noisy. I was like, whew, good thing. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
You've been excused.